Hey everybody, good evening and welcome to another episode of the Vocal Truths podcast starring me, Miss Cherie. And once again, here on this podcast, hopefully you guys, as you come in, just make sure you're liking, sharing, so other people can come in as well. I'm gonna make sure I do that as well, but I'm also gonna just get started because time waits for no man. Y'all can watch later if y'all not catching me live. It's cool. I still love you all the same. No, no love lost or anything like that. Just watch me when you can, as long as you're watching. So, what I want, there's a couple of things I'm going to be talking about today, but it's a couple of things I want to bring to your attention. So we're going to go ahead and get that going in a moment once I finish sharing it live to my own feed. Sorry. So I'm doing that as well. But it's a number of things I'm going to go over today. Number one, I just want to bring attention that I do have on this Blackout Day 2020 shirt. So number one, what we want to do is, and the reason why I'm wearing that for today's show, even though I know the blackout day is supposed to be July 7th, really what we want to do is blackout from July 4th to July 7th if possible. And if you do buy anything at all, it should be from Black-owned organizations as much as possible. But yeah, so this is us bringing attention to our plight and another way to really keep Black dollars in the Black community, as well as making major corporations feel the burn from us not spending our money with them around this time, for them to be able to see that. So I just want to use this platform to also bring attention to that. So it's not just about us not necessarily celebrating the 4th of July, but it's also about us taking our money from those corporations and letting them understand the power of our dollar and just how much our people spend money with these big corporations, and for them to really understand where we're coming from with our marches and everything about Black Lives Matter and everything like that. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and move along. So the topics I'm talking about today will be why Black women don't feel protected by Black men. Also, we're going to be talking about Black male feelings and why they don't express them readily. And then we're going to also discuss Black mental health in our community. And of course, as usual, I'd love for everyone to comment, say hey, or as I'm discussing topics, definitely chime in the comments, and I will be replying either in comments or on video as everything comes in. Also, guys, if you get a chance, go on my YouTube page and make sure you guys like my YouTube page. So once my live video completes, I usually upload it into YouTube as well. Although I know Facebook is convenient for everyone, that's why I go live here. I know you guys live here, so I know where you're at. So we're gonna go with that. So first topic we're gonna dive right into is why Black women don't feel protected by Black men. And the reason why I'm going into that or why I'm showing it is because that seems to be a trending topic as I'm going on Facebook. And I keep seeing it, like, why Black women don't feel protected. And of course, everyone is using that Malcolm X soundbite of saying the Black woman is the most unprotected woman in the world, pretty much. So while that's true, but here are the reasons why. Now, most of the reasons are always brought up around physical protection. And while physical protection is one of the reasons why Black women don't feel protected, is number one, because so many guys will see a woman getting robbed, getting beat up. Now, I can see some people staying out of domestic violence situations, but if you don't know it at face value, if you see a woman getting beat down, most men won't even jump in. Now, granted, I can understand that's a life or death situation. You don't know if you're going to lose your life trying to protect another woman. I get it, but I don't. When it comes down to that, it's a lot of nuances that go into it. But most often, we see men attacking us verbally. They belittle us. They judge women like, oh, it's a single parent household being led by a woman, and that's not the picture. Like, that's the aspect I'm coming from, because when we talk about Black women being harmed by Black men, a lot of women talk about domestic violence. So usually that's a partner, especially if your partner is another Black male. Um, there's domestic violence situations, there's rapes, there's different types of ways that, of course, if a man is inflicting this harm, how can he protect you? So there's that. There are the ones that are abusive, but we can't forget the verbal abuse that goes on. Like, a lot of times, the tearing down of Black women comes at the hands of Black men, like on social media recently. Not even recently, it's just more of a platform. It's another platform for these guys to kind of come on and say, oh, Black women are raising the boys, and, of course, they're neglecting that other half, or that other aspect, if you will, of, the male portion. Like, okay, we didn't make the babies. If you're talking about single parent households led by Black women, they didn't make the babies by themselves. And most Black women I know don't choose to raise the children by themselves. So that's number one. But also, when we come around to it, it's another situation where it comes down to the ripping down. Is saying, oh, Black women, you don't wear your own hair, you're unhealthy, you're this, you're that. A lot of that tears down the psyche of a Black woman. So that's another way men could protect us, by not helping to tear us down, and not attacking us so publicly. Or if they choose to date women of other races, that's not a problem. The problem comes in where they come back with those verbal reprimands, if you will, where they're, tearing down Black women. So that's where a lot of the lack of protection comes from, because we get the most criticism. We get talked about for wearing weaves, when Black women aren't even the only women that wear weaves, but we're the only ones shamed for it. We're not the only class of women that wear makeup, but somehow we're shamed for it if we wear too much or too little or whatever, or what have you. We're shamed if we wear our natural hair. We're shamed if we don't wear our natural hair. So it comes down to the constant verbal attacks. But also, we have to look at other avenues in which Black men can protect us. So in addition to protecting our reputations, because that's basically what that was being ruined when that happens, in addition to protecting our reputations like that, when they're in relationships with Black women, how you treat that Black woman is the way you protect her. Not only physically protecting her, but are you protecting her feelings? Are you going in and are you validating her feelings, whether it be about the relationship or about work or whatever she decides to share with you? Are you validating her feelings, or are you making her feel like she's not valued, or whatever she says isn't valued? Do you pay attention to her opinions on key subjects? Or are you making her feel like her opinions aren't valued, or that they don't matter? Things like that. And of course, these things aren't just secluded to Black men and women, but this is who I'm kind of targeting, because it seems like we're the ones who attack each other publicly a lot. So that's the main deal. So when it comes down to that, like in that relationship, or even protecting her feelings of feeling valued, or protecting her by not talking badly about her to other women, for example. So those are things that we have to deal with. And it's not the greatest thing in the world. We definitely want our men to protect us and love us appropriately. We don't want to be shamed. We don't want our opinions to be belittled. We don't want to have to deal with we don't want to have to deal with people like getting with us and then you have to hear that he's talking badly about you to his coworker. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, she's not doing this and she's not doing that. Like, if you're speaking about your woman, especially, you know, any woman, you definitely want to build her up. Like, if you're speaking about your woman and the person that you're with, whether it's your wife, your girlfriend, or whatever partner you have, to be honest, even if it's another man, whatever, you don't ever want to speak badly about them. So that's also a way that you protect your relationship. You protect the security of your relationship. So no, you're not going out talking to other women, but definitely not talking to other women or men or whatever negatively about your partner. Like that's like a big no-no. And that's another way that men can protect us, but they don't. And that's like any man, even the best man. Sometimes, even if you're mad at your woman, that's not the time for you to sit up and speak negatively. That's not the time. Like, if you're speaking to other people, you should be speaking highly of the person you're with. You chose them. So why go out in public and speak so badly or poorly about the person you're with? Like, if you don't want to, if you are not happy, or if there's something they're not doing, that's something that you need to take back into the relationship and say, hey, I'm not happy with this, or I really wish you would do that. You know, that's not something for you to take elsewhere. Like, oh, like this person is just all bad. And, you know, and of course that's a two-way street, but I was talking about the protection of Black women. So trust me when I say, when we get down to men and their feelings, that will come up as well. But right now, when it comes to protecting a woman or ways we feel protected, those are the ways. So it's not just the physical protection, it's also the emotional. It's also protecting the sanctity of the relationship. Those are all ways in which men can protect us, but those are also ways in which the men tend to fail to protect us, is that our relationships are not sacred. You know, if your woman screws up, you tell the world instead of telling her, you know, or every woman has as much right to you as the woman you're with. So the safety or the relationship is insecure. So then you can complain about your woman being insecure when you're talking to every other woman you come across. So she doesn't even feel valued. And, you know, those are some of the ways. Those are additional ways in which men can protect their woman and or relationship, or other Black women in senses of, it doesn't always have to be a man putting his life on the line for some strange woman that he doesn't know. It could be something as simple as, hey, I see this lady struggling with her groceries, and even though I'm not attracted to her, I'm going to go ahead and help her out because she's clearly struggling. I mean, it's a lot of ways. And, you know, of course, key and point, something that Black women and Black men need to stop doing, which is attacking each other publicly. That's just not a good thing for us. Either way it goes. Two-way street. But of course, we were just speaking about the protection of the Black woman. So that's pretty much all I had on that one. So, oh no, it's not lies. The other thing I want to bring up about protection of the Black woman and things of that nature was, if anyone remember Miss Ruth, the young lady who died back in November. So when I was mentioning the protection of Black women, that was the young lady who was killed in the parking garage. I do believe it was of UIC at the tail end of last year. She got killed because she rejected the advances of a guy who was catcalling her. So that's another way that we are supposed to feel protected. Like, if a guy tries to chat with us and we don't want to, we should be able to say no and not worry about being killed. And most importantly, if you witness it, you should be able to say, like, nobody's asking you to jump in front of a bullet. I mean, so many people take things way over the deep end. No one's asking anyone to jump in front of any bullets for anyone. We're not asking anybody to risk their lives. But when you see something wrong, speak up. It's nothing wrong with speaking up. It's nothing wrong with saying, hey, man, just the girl already said, nah, just leave her alone. Just chill out. Something like that. Something that's just that simple, that like if somebody was around, could have helped save her life. But I do believe it was secluded. It was dark and late, and she was alone. But in those situations, and it really shouldn't have been like that. Somebody should have chatted to that guy or what have you, where they, somebody should have been somewhere to chat with him, not there, of course, but talk to him somewhere at some point in his life and let him know, like, a woman saying no is fine. You'll get over it. It'll be another woman that'll say yes. There was no reason for that young lady to lose her life just because she was not interested in holding a conversation with a young man. But that's what we mean. Like, rejecting someone should not cost us our life. Saying no to sex shouldn't cost us our life or subject us to sexual violence. Who knows why some men beat on their women, but whatever reason they have, that just should not ever happen. It's all these different things, and all women, but when it comes to Black women and Black men, you really kind of need to help support us in that aspect. At least that should be the case. Hopefully, a lot of people probably may not agree. Those are some of the talking points there. So, of course, that leads into my next segment, which is why Black men don't express their feelings. Now, for this one, I think this is super, super, super interesting because I actually put out a status that I noticed a few of you actually shared. And of course, once again, this could be any man who doesn't. A lot of men don't express their feelings. But what I find interesting is most men did not say anything, even on the shared post. Most men said nothing on that post, which speaks volumes to me. No one posted. This was posted back on Monday, so you guys have plenty of time between Monday and 7:30 today to say something on those posts about if you vent, who you vent to. Only for me to find out. And the reason why I bring this up is that in my encounters with different men, and even different men that have been in my life, most of them say that they keep their feelings and things to themselves and deep inside, which we all know is not healthy at all. Like women, we have our friends to lean on. We have family members that readily listen to us. Most people know women need to vent and things like that, but so do men. Black men, other men, everybody, they don't say anything. And what's interesting is I think I ran across one man who was even saying like they don't even express their real feelings to their friends. They're not allowed to cry around our friends or any other men. Most of them are not comfortable even crying around their own women, people they share their bodies with, which is crazy to me as well. But a lot of these men don't even want to express their feelings to their friends. And, most guys keep their friends for years. So these are people that should know them better than they know themselves. And they won't even express their feelings to their friends, not even to their dads if they have their dads in their lives. Nobody. And that's something no one ever speaks on. Men, a lot of times, want to let things out, but men are largely scared. They're scared. A lot of times they're scared to approach women. They're scared to really unleash their deep feelings. Most of it is due to feelings of being ostracized. Most men are not going to express their feelings to their friends because they don't want their friends teasing them, because that's the first thing they're going to do. Everybody thinks everything is funny, except for the person that's actually going through it. It's like, you crying over that girl, or you crying over this, and oh man, you should just get over it. And a lot of times that's what they get met with. They get met with ridicule. They get met with being ostracized for expressing their feelings, which makes them keep everything in. And then you'd like to think that these men will feel comfortable expressing their feelings to their partners, but unfortunately they don't. Why? Because a lot of them feel like their partners are going to use their feelings against them. And unfortunately, most of the time they're correct. I know my mouth is reckless. I'm not ever going to lie. But in my old age, not that old, but as I've gotten older, I've learned that what I don't ever want to do is ostracize any man that I'm having serious feelings for or in a relationship with about their feelings. I usually make it a point to make sure that they know that their feelings are safe with me. Problem is, most men are afraid of their feelings being used against them. They like in an argument, and women, we know we good for this. It's like, oh, but you said XYZ. It's like it's never a good idea to throw someone's pain or anguish or whatever they told you back in their face in the heat of an argument. But I understand that a lot of times in arguments, a lot of us will go ahead and just say whatever. But at the end of the day, what we want to do is we want to move away from that. Like if you really care about your partner, make yourself a safe place for them to be able to express themselves. Like a lot of times, this is why men act a certain way. We don't ever understand the layers that are going on beneath the surface value. So many of them are struggling with their own self-esteem issues, their own feelings of inadequacy, their own feelings of not being able to do enough for their family or not doing what they want. Guys have a picture in their head at all times of the type of family they want, of the type of life they want to provide for their family. So sometimes they're really going through some mental issues if the job they have isn't providing enough for them to provide the life they really want for their family. Okay. Sometimes we don't know what they're struggling with from their childhood. Some of them struggle with molestation issues. Some of them struggle with child abuse issues where they were beat down. A lot of men struggle with mommy issues if they grew up in a single parent household. And a lot of them also suffer from daddy issues, daddy abandonment. It's not just girls. Guys go through it too, but they don't talk about it. So it's a lot of things that go on in their head. If you ever dealt with the guy that used to be from the streets in that gang life or street life, and then they go straight, they have issues with the money they're making. They feel inadequate because they're getting with women who have been in the work world for years. So they're at a higher level and they don't feel like they can compete. It's a lot of things that go through these guys' minds. And all they want sometimes is just a safe place to express it. But they have to feel like that the person that they're willing to express their feelings to will actually make them feel comfortable. And it goes down to comfort. So are you somebody that's going to toss this back in their face? Are you somebody that's going to laugh at them or make them feel like less of a man if they express their feelings or if they cry in front of you or things like that? Because so many women that say, oh, I love a man that'll express their feelings, but then you make fun of them as soon as they cry or you tell them to shut their bitch ass up. I've heard people say that or heard of women saying that, which is not a good thing at all. It's actually... that's like somebody telling us to shut up with all our crying if we're really feeling something. We have this big ball of emotions and we don't know what to deal with. So it's not really a healthy situation for a lot of men, especially Black men. So they have other nuanced situations. They may be putting up with a lot of racism on their job as they're climbing the ranks. They have to deal with some extra pressures of how they're being viewed by their co-workers of different races. Are they being viewed as equal? Are they being viewed as unequal? Do they have this job just because it's being given to them for affirmative action or whatever the situation is? We never know. So just the takeaway here is that Black men got feelings too. We do need to listen to them. We should be their safe haven if you're their partner. We also, especially if you're friends with the Black male, especially if you're another male, y'all should be more conducive to y'all feelings without ridicule, because them not expressing them creates more of a more mental health issues. It's too much. Think about a pressurized system. You add way too much pressure, that thing is gonna blow. So you think about all these Black men with all these unaddressed issues. That's a pressurized system. They're all pressurized systems ready to blow. And you don't know what's going to make them blow. So the best bet is to be able to allow them or give them the freedom to be able to say what they feel without ridicule. Does that mean they should be able to say what they feel and be insulting? No. Does that mean they should be able to just hurt anybody's feelings? No, it doesn't. Of course, someone expressing their feelings shouldn't come at the expense of another person's feelings, but at the same time, there should be a healthy exchange on both ends. So we were talking about women feeling protected. We're also talking about men's feelings being expressed in a healthy way and received in a healthy way. So that's that two-way street we were discussing. Those are things that we really need to work on and be able to do some healing. And the other part that I wanted to mention, for example, I have to bring up August Alsina. I can't, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the August Alsina situation. So in this situation, everybody's talking about the interview he had with Angela Yee from the Breakfast Club, where he made mention of his affair with Jada Pinkett Smith, where Will authorized that affair. Of course, she also came right behind it. There's a bizarre article on my The Vocal Truth page on Facebook where Jada Pinkett Smith basically just denied the whole affair. However, there's pictures everywhere of them. So while pictures don't necessarily mean anything, I mean, people can hang out a lot and just have pictures, but these are pictures without her kids. She knows August Alsina through her child Willow, I do believe. Willow's not in any of the pictures. It's a lot of pictures that were circulated with just her and August. That's it. No Will, no kids, her and him. So she could deny all she wants. You can't convince me that there was no affair, allegedly. But, if she wants to keep denying, she can go ahead. I don't care. That's their business. But the issue with that interview, everybody's like, oh, he's snitching. He's out here snitching about their affair. He wasn't snitching. Not to me. I think he was expressing his feelings, and that's another example of Black men expressing their feelings and being shut down. So in this situation, he was expressing how he felt, how he gave himself to that relationship, even though she was a married woman. He gave his all to her, to that relationship, and how it pretty much made him feel. So this is somebody who was deeply in love with somebody, and clearly those feelings weren't reciprocated fully, and he had no outlet to discuss this. So basically he was shut down back in 2017. He mentioned how much money and stuff he lost because of coming out about this relationship and everything else. But this is somebody, just think, like, as ladies, we can all admit there are times we were really in love with somebody and that person shut us down. And when we came out of it, we just wanted to talk. We wanted to get it out because we needed to vent. We needed to talk about that relationship and what we put into it and everything else, all our other feelings that came about from that relationship. This is the same thing this man is doing, basically. And everybody's like, oh, he's snitching on the relationship. No, he's somebody who was deeply in love, and it ended with when he didn't really want it to end. It had to end, but he didn't want it to end. And he's still in his feelings about it because he really loved this person. Now, granted, Jada, some people may say Jada's bogus, but to be honest, Jada's doing what she was supposed to do. She's still protecting her marriage. She's still protecting her husband's feelings. So I don't care if Will did give his consent. Part of that marriage is they're presenting a united front. So that united front is Will never gave permission. That affair never happened. They're one big happy family. So she's keeping up with what she's supposed to for the image she's putting out for her marriage. Now, as far as he goes, he's expressing his feelings. And if you looked at that interview, you could tell his feelings were very genuine. So that's all I really want to say on that, was just bringing up the fact that that's another example of a Black man expressing his feelings and those feelings being shut down. Not necessarily by haters, but just by people who either love Will and Jada and don't want to hear that, or people who don't want to hear Black men talking about how much he was in love with somebody and it just didn't work out. So going into the next topic, and the final one for the evening, we're talking about mental health in the Black community. So whenever we're talking about feelings and how people feel and feelings of inadequacy and things like that, these are things that, while in our community, a lot of us will tend to lean on friends or family. I do it too. I'll call people, I'll vent. But we have to look at the fact that sometimes the people that we know are not mentally capable of taking on the brunt of our own mental anguish. I'll say that again. A lot of us don't like to take into account that sometimes our friends and our family members, while they care about us, they are not able to take on the mental load of our mental issues or emotional issues. People don't have, it's not that they don't have the time, it comes off wrong, but they just don't. Sometimes they have their own issues, and sometimes they just don't know what to do with your stuff. You're actually asking another person to help you unpack your stuff. And to be honest, too many of us are willing to either go to a friend, go to a friend, or go to, a lot of people rather go to church. They'll go to the pastor, which isn't bad. A little spiritual guidance, it never hurts anybody. But we tend to forget or negate, mental health services. We don't take advantage, mostly because most of them, if we're honest, there are no mental health services that are available in the Black community. There are none. Now, we just did start getting some small little clinics pop up in the neighborhoods, but there are no mental health facilities in any Black neighborhood. You look on the east side, west side, south side, you really don't see psychologists, especially there's very few Black psychologists. Most of the time, Black people have to travel to a hospital, or a lot of psychologist office are usually downtown in Chicago, or they're in the suburbs. They are not within the city. I haven't seen any. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen any. I haven't noticed any. And when I was looking for my mental health services for my own situations, I couldn't find any. But not only that, when we talk about mental health in the Black community, we have to look at how it's viewed. So many Black people think that you only see a psychologist if you're crazy, if you're schizophrenic, if you have some type of mental or psychological break where it's so severe you have to see a psychologist. And that's not the case. So many of us go through so much anxiety. Anybody can deal with it, especially the weight of dealing with racism in this country, the rate at which we're dealing with joblessness in this country, the rate at which we're dealing with so much. We should be seeking out mental health services more often. But unfortunately, those that are most impacted are usually low-income communities. So low-income, those below the poverty line, homeless, people like that. Those are people who don't have access to it. So you don't have health care. You have a medical card, but I do believe, and once again, I'm not the best when it came to this. I couldn't really find anything that specified what is covered under the medical card. But I do remember when I had a medical card, they told me I wasn't eligible for mental health help because I didn't have anything severe. And I really didn't have any real issues to discuss. So even just dealing with the anxiety of being out of work, or how I'm going to raise my child, or things like that, couldn't see anyone because I didn't have money. I didn't have a job that covered mental health services. And too often when some of us have jobs that do cover mental health services, we still don't use it because some of us seem to view mental health services as something that the weak do. And I've heard this so many times, like when people have mental health breaks, I hear other people judge them and say, oh, they're weak. Like when there are certain people who consider suicide, when people are suffering and dealing with anxiety and they're having their mental health breaks and they really need support. They're viewed as weak. They're viewed as not having any religion. That's some of the other reasons why some people view mental health poorly in our community. Everybody says this one saying like, "Oh, you just need a little Jesus. Just pray about it. Just pray about it." But we have to remember there are people who chose to go into this profession because they want to help people. They were blessed with that gift to be able to help people. They went to classes to be able to help people. So that's what they're here for. And it's best for us to be able to utilize those services as much as we can if it's available to us. But most importantly, what we need to do is get back to getting to our state legislature so that they can go back to expanding mental health services. Because the way it is now, there's very little mental health services as a whole in the state. There's been a decrease in mental health services, so we have a lot of mental health patients freely wandering the city all over the street. They have nowhere to go. They don't have support. And think about all the mental health, the Black men and women who suffer from mental health issues, who are not getting the adequate help, the adequate medications they need, and things of that nature, because these services either aren't available, or we have to look at the historical nature in which medical professionals treat the Black population. It's enough that Black people can't even get adequate pain management medicine, depending on whatever their ailment is. So it's even harder for Black people to get the proper medical attention, because it's been proven that a lot of times there's not even anyone really available in the profession. It's not saying there's no one readily available, but there's not enough doctors that understand Black people. So there's not enough Black doctors in the psychology field. There's not enough people of those there that understand our plight, that truly understand where we're coming from, who could truly understand whether or not we're suffering from tremendous amounts of stress, or if we really are having a psychological break and need either some medication or to be institutionalized, for that matter. It's so much that people just may write us off just as crazy and just let us go, which is all bad. But where we can step in is we need to advocate for our own community. We need to advocate for actually having mental health services in our community. We need to advocate for actually bringing mental health professionals into our community. We did a lot of that to have clinics, all these access health clinics, all of these different individual practices that are now in our community, because they know a lot of us have medical cards and things like that. Just like those doctors are now in our communities and readily accessible, we also need to advocate for having mental health facilities and mental health professionals in our community as well to help with these everyday things. But first, we have to start using these services. So it is not weak for anyone to need mental health services. It's not weak for anyone to have any sort of anxiety issues or have issues so severe where they contemplate suicide. It's not a weak thing. It's actually a situation where they need to speak to someone, and it may be someone more than a friend or family member that may come off as insensitive to whatever issues that they're suffering from. So even as a friend or family member, maybe we need to start with us and suggesting, when we're listening to friends, when we're listening to family members, to discuss with them if they've ever considered seeking the help of a mental health professional. It starts there. As you're listening to some of these issues, and as you're thinking whether or not you can be a help, I always talk to my friends like, hey, do you believe in mental health assistance? Have you ever spoken to a psychologist before? And I've never had any problems with discussing with anyone my struggles and me seeing a counselor. I saw a counselor when everything went down with my marriage and my ex and I separated. That was a very difficult thing for me. And if I had not sought out medical help, I don't know what I would have done or where I would have been, because that was something I definitely needed help over that hump, through that emotional mess that I was at the time. And that was something that I feel like anybody can benefit from, even if you think it's just you only need a couple of sessions. But I think all of us can benefit from it. But I definitely think it needs to be more mental health facilities and professionals in our communities, because another barrier for us to even see a professional outside of insurance is accessibility. A lot of us can't see professionals that's outside of our community. So that's one of the things that was actually the last subject on this podcast today. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed what I had to say. Unfortunately, not many comments. Once again, I just want to put it out there that I wanted, as much as possible, I love for you guys to really comment and interact more with the show. But if not, it's all good. I still get the points across. There's another thing that I would like to announce about the show. So number one, 7:30 Wednesday will now be the regular time for my main show. This is the main show where I will discuss more serious topics. However, what I would like to do is I want to do a Red Cup Friday. Red Cup Friday is where I'm going to get a little loose. That's where we'll probably discuss more relationship topic type issues, dating issues, or dating topics, whatever the situation may be. I might put a poll up for what people might want to talk about. And thanks, Dara. Definitely. Thanks for your support, Dara. I appreciate it. Love you. Uh, but Red Cup Friday is what I really want to discuss, is that it's not going to be as formal. I feel like I speak more formally on the regular show. What I really want to do is kind of get loose, have a cocktail of choice, and everybody have their red cup. I might ask people to post up their pictures of their red cup, and we could go ahead and chat and have like a less formal conversation about any dating perils or whatever issues anybody are expressing, or me personally. I'm gonna be expressing I'm currently dating, clearly, out here in the dating world. So I'll be discussing some of my own issues. And actually, one surprise I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play an audio of a message I got in response to something I told somebody. So that's the cliffhanger. So if anybody else want to expose somebody or say something, we can talk about that, but not really exposing like, oh, somebody just saying that they like you, but more so exposure like they're being a complete jerk and not respecting your feelings, that type deal. So that I'm looking forward to that Red Cup Friday. So Wednesdays, 7:30. See me here regularly every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. And Fridays, I'm gonna do Fridays at 7:30 as well. Just to keep it uniform. So if you're not out, if your feet aren't out in the street, hopefully you're in the house with a red cup like me and tuned in, so we can talk about this stuff and continue from there. Love you all. Thank you all for tuning in, and hope to see you next time.